Do you think the United States and Western Europe are made up of imperialist, colonialist, resource-exploiting, greedy, grasping, brown-skin-hating people whose values are not worth defending? If you think this question is absurd and that no one thinks this way, you would be very much mistaken. Many people do. And what's even more disturbing, many of these people were born and live in the West. In other words, they've come to despise their own culture. This thinking is the product of a doctrine widely taught in our schools. It's known as multiculturalism, the belief that all cultures are equal. Or to put it another way, no culture's values, art, music, political system, or literature are better or worse than any other.
Let's not bury what's most important in America. Everyone is talking about the smirk heard round the world.
Feel from this experience that you owe anybody an apology? Do you see your own fault in any way?
As far as standing there, I had every right to do so. My position is that I was not disrespectful to Mr. Phillips.
This morning, 16-year-old Nick Sandmann standing by his actions in this moment gone viral. The junior at Kentucky's Covington Catholic High School, now the face of this Lincoln Memorial confrontation with Native American elder Nathan Phillips. And what's it been like to be at the center of the storm?
Well, it's weird to see your face on television. I've been reading a lot, and, I've also been getting a lot of messages from people, both support and a lot of hateful things.
Sandmann and dozens of his classmates had just finished attending an anti-abortion March for Life rally when they
shouting a bunch of, homophobic, racist, derogatory comments at us.
What kinds of things did you hear them say?
I heard them call us incest kids, bigots, racists. They called us
a bunch of incest babies, a bunch of child molesting.
Did you feel threatened at all?
They were a group of adults, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen next.
It's unclear from the videos who actually started the confrontation. Each side believes it was the first to be taunted. Sandmann says his chaperone gave students permission to shout school chants, an attempt, he says, to drown out the Hebrew Israelites. Do you think it was a good idea to start chanting back at the protesters?
In hindsight, I wish we had just found another spot to wait for our buses, but at the time, being positive seemed better than letting them slander us with all of these things. So I wish we could have walked away.
Did anyone shout any insults back or any racial slurs back at the group?
We're a Catholic school, and it's not tolerated. They don't tolerate racism, and none of my classmates are racist.
Did you feel like he was trying to get somewhere else, to go toward the Lincoln Memorial?
I'm not sure where he wanted to go, and if he wanted to walk past me, I would have let him go.
In that moment, he's looking at you, you're looking at him. What's going through your mind?
I wanted the situation to die down, and I just wish he would have walked away, but I knew as long as I kept my composure and didn't do anything that he might perceive as aggressive or elevation of the conflict, that it would hopefully die.
The center of the firestorm, what critics characterize as a smirk on Sandmann's face, some saying it was an attempt to stare down Phillips. What do you think that looks like?
I see it as a smile saying that this is the best you're going to get out of me. You won't get any further reaction of aggression, and I'm willing to stand here as long as you want to hit this drum in my face.
And they were there with a big pro-life march, and then a Native American elder playing a drum got in the middle to mediate. And now it's a big thing, and people saying the kid, I don't blame the kid, the smirking kid. I blame lead poisoning. And bad parenting, and oh yeah, I blame that f***ing kid. What a little smirk face. Smirk face says, please. Like, that's not a dick move at any age to stick your face in this elderly man's. And this smirking kid says he was just trying to diffuse the situation. But really? You know what? Next time you get into a fight with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, try that. Try getting 2 inches from their face with a shit-eating grin and see if it diffuses the situation. Yes? If you ask me, this kid should have done what everyone does during a drum solo. Leave. But really, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time, I must tell you, around Catholic school children. But I do not get what Catholic priests see in these kids.
Nothing much. Just looking up old videos and old tweets on celebrities trying to get them canceled.
Cancel?
Yeah. It's when you jeopardize the livelihood and reputation of someone based on something they did in the past.
Oh. Why?
I'm a part of the most toxic community on the internet. It's what we do.
Okay.
Yep. We have to hold people accountable for what they've done in the past, regardless of who they are today. We don't judge people based on who they are now. We judge them on who they were.
I see.
Honestly, to cancel someone, it doesn't even have to be something they did in the past. It could be something they did today. Or something we think that they might do tomorrow. Shit. Nowadays, we cancel people for no reason. You can do absolutely nothing. We'll cancel you. The most effective way to cancel someone is to create our own narrative and turn a subgroup against that celebrity.
What do you mean?
Okay, like J. Cole, for instance. He said in a recent song, "It's something about this queen's tone that's bothering me." We took that line, twisted it, and we created the narrative that says J. Cole is telling black women to watch their tone, telling them to shut the fuck up and sit down. Now J. Cole is a misogynist that hates black women.
Is that what he meant? Was that the intent?
Probably not, but that's the thing with cancel culture. We create our own narratives. We don't follow logic or facts.
My name is Nick Sandmann, and I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to share some of my story and why it matters so much to this November's election. In 2019, I attended the March for Life in Washington, D.C., where I demonstrated in defense of the unborn. Later that day, I bought a Make America Great Again hat because our president, Donald Trump, has distinguished himself as one of the most pro-life presidents in the history of our country, and I wanted to express my support for him too. Looking back now, how could I have possibly imagined that the simple act of putting on that red hat would unleash hate from the left and make myself the target of network and cable news networks nationwide? Being from Kentucky, the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, my classmates and I visited the Lincoln Memorial. I found myself face to face with Nathan Phillips and other professional protesters looking to turn me into the latest poster child showing why Trump is bad, while the media portrayed me as an aggressor with a relentless smirk on my face. In reality, the video confirms I was standing with my hands behind my back and an awkward smile on my face that hid two thoughts. One, don't do anything that might further agitate the man banging a drum in my face. And two, I was trying to follow a family friend's advice, never to do anything to embarrass your family, your school, or your community. Before I knew what was happening, it was over. One of Mr. Phillips' fellow agitators yelled out, "We got him. It's all right here on video. And we won, Grandpa." What I thought was a strange encounter quickly developed into a major news story, complete with video footage. My life changed forever in that one moment. The full war machine of the mainstream media revved up into attack mode. They did so without researching the full video of the incident, without ever investigating Mr. Phillips' motives, or without ever asking me for my side of the story. And do you know why? Because the truth was not important. Advancing their anti-Christian, anti-conservative, anti-Donald Trump narrative was all that mattered. And if advancing their narrative ruined the reputation and future of a teenager from Covington, Kentucky, well, so be it. That would teach him not to wear a MAGA hat. I learned what was happening to me had a name. It was called being canceled, as in annulled, as in revoked, as in made void. Canceled is what's happening to people around this country who refuse to be silenced by the far left. Many are being fired, humiliated, or even threatened. And often, the media is a willing participant. But I would not be canceled. I fought back hard to expose the media for what they did to me, and I won a personal victory. While much more must be done, I look forward to the day that the media returns to providing balanced, responsible, and accountable news coverage. I know President Trump hopes for that too. And I know you'll agree with me when we say that no one in this country has been a victim of unfair media coverage more than President Donald Trump. In November, I believe this country must unite around a president who calls the media out and refuses to allow them to create a narrative instead of reporting the facts. I believe we must join a president who will challenge the media to return to objective journalism. And together, I believe we must all embrace our First Amendment rights and not hide in fear of the media or from the tech companies or from the outrage mob either. This is worth fighting for. This is worth voting for. And this is what Donald Trump stands for. Thank you all for listening to me tonight. And one more thing. Let's make America great again.